What is the most effective psychological trick you use? Let people think they are smarter and dig their own hole. To make the women in my fitness class work harder, I compliment them. I tell them how strong they look or how beautiful they look or straight their posture is. If their posture isn't straight, it becomes straight after I say that their posture looks amazing. It worked when I was a high school teacher and it works with little kids too. Always compliment and reward genuine hard work. It motivates people to do more. When my GF annoys me, I look at her through a fork and pretend she's in jail. It makes me feel better. With younger kids who have trouble going to bed, or getting off their tablets or whatever time they enjoy when they need to do something else, ask them if they want to have amount of time you prefer, more minutes, or 5 less minutes than the minutes they prefer. They will often be more understanding when it's time to move on because they were given some freedom of choice. Example, it's time to start bedtime routine and your kid is playing Minecraft. They don't want to get off and usually start crying about it. You say, "Hey, it's almost time to get ready for bed. Do you want 15 more minutes or 10 more minutes?" They will usually choose 15 and normally won't fight about it because, hey, they could have had 10 minutes instead. TL Doctor, ask a question intentionally assuming incorrect information to get someone to talk more about a topic. I'm a conversation English teacher with a lot of Japanese students. It makes my job harder when they're quiet or give me only one-word answers. Some students are really stubborn. I'm talking about adults as well as children. If I show a shy kid a picture of an elephant and ask what's this, they'll get bored, run off, cry and shit their pants, anything but answer my question. But if I say this is a giraffe, they'll all stand up and scream, "No, teacher, that's an elephant." And suddenly they're engaged. I have a feeling it's tapping into the same thing that makes people comment on Reddit most of the time, correcting someone who is wrong. It works on adults too. If I ask a stubborn adult student, "Tell me about your engineering job," they'll usually say something like, "I design systems." And then I have to ask an endless stream of follow-up questions with one-sentence answers. But, if I say something like, "So, I see you're an engineer. That means you build engines, right?" they can't wait to correct my ignorance fast enough. They'll go into detail explaining what an engineer is, what it isn't, and what kind they are. I'll just have to chime in with, "Are you sure?" every few minutes, and then they're talking up a storm for the rest of the class. The only downside is that sometimes I get annoying arrogant ding-dongs that get condescending, but that's the price you pay for psychological manipulation. If you want anyone to like you, try to mirror their body language subtly. They will for some reason want to be around you more. I stare at a guy's lips, then go back up to his eyes a few times if I want him to kiss me. It works. I told our children their hands turn red when they lie. Two oldest show me their hands, you just looks at hers, busted. If you want someone to add more details or info to their story, stay quiet when they believe they've finished speaking. The silence is uncomfortable and they will naturally add more to what they were saying. Also, I hate when people do this to me. Reverse psychology with my daughter. When she is throwing a tantrum in public, I just go, "Scream louder. Kick harder. Come on, let's make everybody hear your big tantrum." She will just say, "No mammy, I don't want to," and just calm down and move on. When I'm overwhelmed or extremely anxious, spiraling out of control, or can feel my heart racing, I look around and find 5 objects, naming them out loud, inside my own head usually. It's a good way to recenter myself and bring me out of the negative feedback loop I've got myself in. My freshman year of college, my roommate was big into the party scene on campus and would frequently come back to the dorm around 2 to 4 a.m. and just drunk talk at me for an hour or so. Eventually I got fed up and decided to use classical conditioning to fix my problem. I started to play the same song each night before we went to sleep, and eventually, he started to fall asleep to the song at night. So, whenever he came back drunk, I would simply play the song and he'd just pass out without any excessive talking. One way to make friends is ask them for a favor. The Benjamin Franklin effect. When working on group projects, if you want someone else in the group to do something, instead of saying "can you do this," simply say "can you start on this." This makes it sound like less work and they will be more willing to do it. Halfway through, tell them "good job, keep going," and they'll probably finish it. Very useful for lab reports. When I'm on a bus, I make eye contact with everyone getting on and, feeling awkward, they don't sit beside me unless it's the only seat left available. When engaging in any chat battle in LOL, respond with, "After any trash play, it tilts them off the face of the earth 8/10 times." I have started to view the things I do for myself as me loving myself. I've done it to some extent for a while but broadened it a ton. And not just like fun stuff. Like I love myself enough I stopped for gas on the way home so that I won't have to tomorrow. I regularly refer to past me and future me. Past me loves me a tune, she's great and does amazing things for me. The more I think of it this way, the better my self-esteem and self-image get, and generally they're things I'm doing anyways. I have to stop for gas regardless, but I could have waited until tomorrow when I need gas ASAP, or could stop tonight when I still had a little gas and was tired. I chose to stop because I know waiting too long with gas is inconvenient and stresses me out, and that future me really will appreciate the full tank tomorrow. Naturally I thought of you first because you're good at this stuff. Can you help me out? What's your opinion on this job? Or generally something to that effect. Not giving a duck. It is harder than it sounds. Most people have insecurities or are nervous and anxious about stuff. If you master the art of not giving a duck, you will find peace, quiet and happiness. Make sure to find the sweet spot though. There are things in life that need a duck every now and then. Remember people's names and a little bit about them. Recognize them when you see them again. Next thing you know, lots of people like you, know your name, and recognize you in return. Simple trick, many of us want to be recognized as existing in life by someone else, and are likely to return the favor. I have trouble remembering names of people I meet. I developed this trick as a teenager and it has worked 100% of the time all the way into my 30s. It goes like this. Whenever you inevitably start chatting with someone you met a week ago, I simply go through the motions for about 10 minutes. After a little small talk, I'll abruptly insert this non sequitur into our conversation and excitedly ask, "Hey, what's your middle name?" I leave zero time for them to respond before I quickly spew out my full name. Without fail, the other person always repeats their full name back within seconds. "Oh cool, did you ever go by it?" And then I just let the conversation flow back to whatever feels natural while silently cementing their entire name into my head, and without giving the vibe that mere seconds ago I had no idea what their first name even was. I give my students two options on tests. A and B. I want them to choose A and make them use their brains, but it is not a cakewalk. If I only give them one option, they are unhappy and hate me as a professor. So, I make option B so bad, they think A is a cakewalk. I get great reviews at the end of the semester for letting them choose the easier one. Smile has worked for 11 years. Showing genuine interest in someone is a good way to get people to trust you and give you the time of day. Just want to get in first and call preemptive bullshit on anyone who tries to spout that NLP nonsense about eye movements revealing deception. I was a special ed aide for a high school student that went to other classes half the day and spent the other half in the spec ed class. He was so disorganized and never liked to do his homework. I would note all his HW assignments and post it on the wall behind my desk. I would then give him the choice of what HW assignment he wanted to do first. This worked and he got his assignments all done with minor squabbles but overall much improved grades and attitude. I'd like to think that because I gave him his choice of what assignment to do, he had the mindset that he had total control of his assignments even though I knew all the assignments would get done. Ed SP. Photo checklists for your kids. Take a picture of how you want them to look before they go to school. A picture of them. Draw a box around the important things. Backpack books in it. School uniform on. Hair and teeth brushed. Shoes on and tied. Post this in a place that's relevant to where they are getting ready. Tell them to make sure they look like the picture. They'll reference it, make sure they have all the things they need, etc. on their own after you get them in the routine. I have a picture guide for a few different things. Ready for school, cleaned up bedroom, toys away, bed made, dirty, etc. Ready for bed, day clothes in hamper, teeth brushed, nightlight on, water by bed, etc. and so on. It seems kind of silly, even babying, but it really does work. All of our family routines have gone much smoother since doing this. It can be hard for kids to remember everything. Just having photo guides posted in relevant location to where the routine is lets kids check in on themselves and take charge in their own process. So now my daughter gets herself ready for bed, school, etc. independently. She reminds herself to do what she needs to be on task. And there's no real fighting or haggling about why her hair is a mess or she's wearing jeans and not her uniform khakis. Or getting out of bed because she forgot her stuffy, then because she forgot to pee, then because she doesn't have a glass of water, and so on. If your child is struggling to keep their routine, I really can't recommend giving photo checklists a try enough. And it works for everything that's a regular routine with predictable desired outcomes. When told something can't be done or is impossible, say okay, I understand, but if it was possible, how would you do it? And you will often get an answer. I read somewhere that it has a positive effect when you use both hands to shake someone's hand. I do this ever since, especially if I thank someone or want them to feel appreciated, and it really works. When playing rock, paper, scissors, ask your opponent what they had for dinner, then take out rock. Your opponent will opt for scissors. You win. It's so much fun painting this fence. When my kid does something that's kind of shitty, we talk about what would happen if everybody else did it. It's a nice way to help him understand why something was wrong without making him feel like a bad person, and the silly little what ifs we come up with help him remember later. Example, what if nobody washed their hands after they used the bathroom? And we talk about the whole world smelling awful and someone with pee on their hand offering him a handshake or making him peanut butter and jelly. If someone is about to explain something controversial, I maintain eye contact and say nothing at all. People tend to get nervous and talk all sorts of things waiting for you to finally say something. Not giving away your stance and just shutting up is quite unnerving apparently.